Well, we're back here at the Hall of History, and we're taking our final look at the war in Europe. The Allies liberate Europe, and the Nazi army is defeated. Well, once the Allies got landed in Normandy and got off the beaches and into Europe, it was really only a matter of time before the German country was defeated here. The Nazis were defeated as they were being attacked on the west side from the Allies, and then on the east side the Russians were closing in on them, and it really was just it was inevitable that they were going to get defeated here. It was an interesting note after D-Day. The Allies landed about 1 million troops, and you can read this for yourself. All this material came in from England, and it came in from over from the United States, and we just put all sorts of equipment and men on the continent. Well, one interesting person in all this, once his army got landed, and he did not participate in D-Day, General Patton was used as a decoy. Once the Third Army got into France, they just ran roughshod over the German army for much of their time in World War II. General Patton was regarded as the most feared tactical general that the Allies had. The Germans really spent a lot of time wanting to know what he was doing and where his army was. It is said, if again, you can read many biographies about Patton, but the only thing that really slowed him down was his lack of fuel for his tanks. He really did what the Germans did to France and Belgium and the countries in 1940. He used the whole idea of a blitzkrieg. He really took his armored divisions and just tried to encircle and just use speed to get wherever he was going and to defeat the enemy. Really his tactic was get there firstest with the mostest, and that was used later on in the Gulf War. Many generals, when they got into Iraq, just get there first and just bring a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of armor with you. Well, as the war was going on, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that Roosevelt was going to get reelected, and he actually got reelected to his 4th term. You know, it's kind of the old saying: you don't change your horse in the middle of a stream, and people did not want drastic change throughout the war, so they kept the Roosevelt president. And you can see from the Electoral College and the vote here, it was pretty much a landslide. Well, as the Allies were going through Belgium and France, they pretty much once they got out of the hedgerows of France, they sat back for a little bit in December of '44 just to regroup. Well, Hitler at this time wanted one more big push, one more attack. He thought, if he could really mass all his armor in one place and attack, and he could really drive a wedge between the British Army in the north and Third Army, U.S. Third Army in the south, he could get to Antwerp and open up some supply lines. So he massed all his armor, his panzer divisions. They were all massed in an area that was called the Ardennes. And this battle's probably the most famous one on the European continent. And there's the old famous story, the battle, or beleaguered bastards of Bastogne, and you can see Bastogne on the map here. Bastogne held out. They were being surrounded, and initially the attack caught the Americans and the British by surprise, and it really got pretty far. But again, the Germans put everything they had into this. They were running out of fuel. Their equipment was starting to break down, and what ended up happening, once the skies cleared, Allied bombers could come in, and with the P-51s, and then also a famous story where Patton really made his legend here. He rotated his U.S. Third Army, which was in the south. He rotated it almost 90 degrees, took them out where they were, and headed north to cut off the German advance. And this was all done under icy roads, very, very cold conditions. I would suggest you read about the Battle of the Bulge, as it was called, and there were some massacres of American prisoners done up in Malmedy, up by St. Vith, and a very, very interesting battle of World War II, and much studied. And yeah, take some time and do a little investigation on it. Well, once Hitler's offense stalled at the Battle of Bulge, that was really the last chance the Germans had of trying to get any type of conditional surrender. From this point on, the Allies advanced on all fronts. The Russians were closing in on the east, and it was just, you know, shrinking the German army. The German army was reduced to putting boys 12 years old into battle, and it ended up many places end up just being a slaughter. But Hitler would not allow the Germans to surrender. Well, finally, by April 25th, in 1945, the Soviets got into Berlin. Hitler committed suicide, supposedly with his wife Eva Braun at the time. And on May 8th, in 1945, or VE Day, the Allies celebrated victory. There was always speculation that Hitler did not commit suicide, because supposedly, well, he did. Once he committed suicide, his body was burned beyond all recognition. And it's, again, it makes for a great story that Hitler somehow survived this. Again, do some extra reading on this. This was once the Soviets got into Berlin. It wasn't until President Ronald Reagan came in about 1989, 1990 that finally got the Russians left Berlin. This was really the start of the Cold War here. An interesting note to this: nobody really trusted the Russians, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Patton actually wanted to arm the German Wehrmacht and turn around and fight the Russians, as he knew we'd fight them sooner or later. Well, of course that didn't happen, but it was interesting that Patton foresaw the political and the Cold War that went on for the next about 50 years. And it's kind of interesting to note now with the Russians in the Crimea that maybe it's not entirely over yet. So that's our look at the end of the war in Europe.